I'm guessing pretty much everyone watching this will know of Silverstone, unless the YouTube algorithm has really messed up somehow. Um, but yeah, Silverstone's the home of British Formula One and some amazing motorsport memories for a lot of people. What some of you may not know is that sort of wannabe racing drivers can actually pay to drive single-seaters in time sessions on the Stowe Circuit. The Stowe Circuit is a mini circuit contained within the main circuit. Now, I'm someone who loves driving and racing and all things motorsport, but until very recently, all my kind of racing activities had been limited to karting and go-karting championships. This was because I actually didn't have a driving licence until February of 2022. Which is when I finally passed my driving test many years after I should have done. And when I did finally pass my test, one of the very sort of first things I wanted to do was to take the opportunity to drive fast cars. So here I am on the Stowe Circuit, getting ready to leave the pits in their single seater. No idea what vehicle this actually is, to be honest. I think it's possibly some kind of Formula Ford variant thing. It has wings, which Formula Fords traditionally don't. So I'm not actually sure what I was driving, but there we go. It's a very nervous moment for me sitting in the pit. I had actually driven single seaters before. I've done Palmer Sport a couple of times they do time sessions there. And I've driven Formula Ford for a few laps, literally a handful of laps, like 4 laps in a track in Leicester. Oh, and I had actually done literally a handful of laps and at Brands Hatch in the pouring rain, but it was just a handful of laps because it was raining and people kept spinning off. So that was actually just a massively frustrating and very expensive experience. So it was lovely that this was dry, and it was nice that I was let out first. So I was very excited because the other thing with these things is that you get a very kind of varied standard of people. Everyone that does these things has an interest in racing and motorsport. So people tend to be reasonably experienced, and you have to sign a waiver to say that you're a competent driver and you can handle the machinery and stuff. So mostly people are pretty good, but you do obviously get people that are a lot slower, and particularly when I was doing Palmer Sport, we were held up a lot. There was a lot of traffic, and obviously it's not go-karting. You can't just dive up the inside and overtake people. There were quite strict rules about where you can overtake, and because it's a time session, you're not actually racing each other. They wouldn't let you race each other. But obviously you can overtake, but they don't want you to, dive bomb people or whatever and damage the machinery and cause a nasty accident. So what they do is they have a blue flag system. And then if someone behind you is faster, they just give you a blue flag and you're supposed to move over and let them overtake, but they can only overtake on the straights. So you can get really stuck behind people, and that can be an incredibly frustrating experience. So I was very happy to be let out first, but obviously I hadn't driven on the track before, and I'd never driven in the cars. So you can see, actually, I wasn't very confident myself. I was driving very slowly, and I immediately got blue flagged on the second lap, I think. So I pulled over and let a couple of cars go past. And when we were in the briefing, the marshal actually asked if anyone had done single-seaters before. And a handful of us put our hands up. And there were sort of about 3 people in particular that I actually suspected had done this course before. You can see by the way those guys overtook me and then sort of zoomed off into the distance straight away, late braking, all that sort of thing. They were obviously very confident on the circuit and in the cars. So I'm fairly sure they'd been to Stowe before. So I wasn't disheartened or anything like that. I was just taking time to get used to the track and the car. And also I was fully aware it's a timed session, so the winner is the person with the fastest lap. It's not a race, so it didn't matter if people were faster than you at the beginning. You could set your fastest lap at any point during the session. And I was confident that I would get faster and faster as the session went on, and you can see gradually I did start to get quicker and quicker, and it was nice actually to then within a few laps start to catch people myself. And people were fairly good about moving over. So they blue flagged, and this guy kind of moves over and slows down to let me pass. So by this point I was a few laps in. I was really enjoying it. The only thing I was having was that the gear changes were very stiff. When I did the Palmer Sport single seater, it was a semi-automatic gearbox, so it's little pedals on the steering wheel, that you could just flick when you wanted to change gear. Whereas this was a tiny little manual stick with a gearbox. But it was very stiff to change, quite difficult to change, particularly between third and fourth. I found that really, really difficult. And it was very, easy to select the wrong gear, which obviously would ruin your lap. And yeah, it didn't sound too nice for the car. The car would really let you know about it when you did that, and I did that a couple of times. I can drive fully manual. I hold a fully manual driving license, and I quite enjoy changing my own gears and stuff. But obviously, in go-kart racing, it's not something you have to worry about. As you can see, I've caught up to someone here. Again, it's very difficult. It's not like go-karting where you can just dive bomb people. I was very, very wary about, in a vehicle I'm not familiar with, about, damaging my car or someone else's, and obviously, ending the session and probably not being allowed back to Stowe. So I was obviously being super, super cautious while I'm absolutely crawling around here. They get blue flagged, and again, just let me past, which was good. Yeah, so while I am happy and confident with manual transmission, I'm not one of these drivers that's these modern drivers only ever drive automatic. But this gearbox was particularly annoying and difficult. So I thought, I'm actually just going to cheat. Most of the gear changes were only between third and fourth anyway. So I found that actually it was easier for the majority of the lap just to stick it in fourth. And then just rev it super heavily in the corners, which obviously did cost me a little bit of time, but I think for me it was faster because so many times I would ruin a good lap by messing up a gear change, or and the second to third was always fairly easy. It was just third to fourth really that was causing me difficulty. So for most of it I would just keep it in fourth. So you can see I've caught someone else here, and actually I caught them at a really opportune time because we were just coming onto the start-finish straight. So it meant that they got blue flagged pretty much straight away, and were able to get out of the way. And you can see he really kindly moved over at the earliest opportunity. In fact, he was so keen to move over here. I didn't realise at the time, but he actually knocked over a cone moving out of the way, as you're about to see. Because I do actually have some outboard footage, courtesy of my girlfriend. And the other thing you'll see is just how much better the cars actually sound than on this footage. Yeah, this is the really great footage that Stowe sell, but it's the audio is really, really terrible for some reason on it. Just all you can hear is the wind. I think it's from where they positioned the camera. You see now I've caught someone else. I felt sort of I was getting more and more confident every lap, and obviously quicker every lap as well. Didn't catch this guy quite such a good point as I did the guy before. I caught this guy a little bit early, which actually did spoil this lap. But like everyone else, he was very good. Once they get the blue flag, he moved over straight away. Because that was the other thing at Palmer Sport. Sometimes people would get the blue flag and then they wouldn't move over. I think always things like to get your egos get involved a little bit, but everyone here was really, really good. So he moved over straight away and allowed me to move past. I quickly caught some more drivers, and at this point, frustration was creeping in a little bit because I did really want to put in a clean lap if I could, and I was starting to get sort of held up in traffic a little bit on most of the laps, if not all the laps. I think one of these guys actually moves over. Yeah, he moves over on this straight, allowing everyone to just sail past. It was tricky at this point because I was like, I could see that it was a little bit congested. Like I said, I still wanted to put in a good lap. So it's just a case of I thought, well, can I back off a little bit to get a clean lap in, or but that normally didn't work, because normally if you did do that, you just caught someone halfway around your lap. But these two guys in front of me at the moment were actually going fairly quickly, and I can't actually remember, but I think I did at this moment back off a little bit just to give myself space, because I could see that they were both very quick, and I was unlikely if I backed off to catch them and get held up. And I think by the end of the session, I was so much faster than I'd been at the start. You can see me here having a really, really nice time. I was really, really enjoying it. And like I say, getting quicker and quicker to the point where the lap I'm on now, which is actually turned out to be my fastest lap. And actually, it was the quickest lap out of anyone in the session. There were 12 drivers, and I was quickest by just under a second. So I was really, really chuffed with that because, like I say, I knew a handful of the guys had done single seaters before, and I strongly suspect that at least 3 of them had driven on the circuit before. And when I actually set the fastest lap, it was actually on my 19th lap, which was my last lap, and my previous quickest lap had been on lap 14, 5 laps previously, and had actually been 5 seconds slower, well, nearly 5 seconds slower, like 4.9 or something. So I'd improved by nearly 5 seconds, which was really, really fantastic to see, and showed what I could do, with a bit more confidence and knowledge of the track, and a clean lap. Yeah, so like I say, I was really chuffed to have set the fastest lap. Driving cars competitively in any kind of format is something I've wanted to do my whole life, and I've been karting competitively for about 3 years now. And I've won a couple of things in karting, and obviously I've seen myself at the top of timing sheets in karting on a few occasions, or quite a few occasions. But seeing that in cars felt really, really amazing. So I'm so kind of inexperienced in cars, and having driven single seaters a handful of times, it felt like massive progress to see myself come first in a time session. That felt really, really amazing. So it was a really, really great experience, and and incredibly fun. So this is the cool down lap as we headed into the pits. It was really interesting looking at the results, because the second, third, and fourth, which were the 3 guys I suspected had been to the track before, they all set lap times within one tenth of each other. And then the first 5 drivers were, the first 6 drivers actually were within sort of around 3 seconds of my time. But then from 7th onwards, the gap got really big after that. So those are the people I suspect were less experienced. But yeah, if you're one of those people like me that doesn't have a racing license, but loves motorsports and enjoys driving fast cars, I'd thoroughly recommend this. It's a really, really great experience. The one thing I would say though is try and do it in the summer, or when you're sure that there's not going to be rain, because I say the one I did at Brands Hatch was just people spinning off in the rain. That was more sort of frustrating than anything. But yeah, this was a very good experience, and hopefully I get to do it again at some point. So yeah, really enjoyed it.